good morning, everybody. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Happy Easter.
Are we all coming out of the tomb? Or have we come out of the tomb? Are we working at getting out of the tomb?
We're good.
Well,
I'm out of the tomb.
good. We always go in and we always have to come out. Which I'm going to explain a little bit today about, Easter is like, to me, just the ultimate holiday over all of them. And the reason is because I feel like Easter gives us hope. It's symbolic of new beginnings. It's also about transformation. It's about blooming. If you look at the season that Easter is in, and you begin to look at the trees, you see everything that's ready to recreate itself. It's about renewal. And I can preach all day about Easter, because every day we live the Easter story, whether or not we're aware of it. Every day. So before I begin, what I want to do is I want for us to pray the Lord's Prayer to bring in the energy of the Master Teacher himself, and to us to fine-tune ourselves to be open and receptive to the incredible Christ energy that is within us and all around us this Easter day. So, Monica's going to do the sign language of it, which I think that would bring, it just, to me it just brings more feeling, it brings more energy to it. So, Monica, would you mind? Yeah, stand up. There you go. Go ahead. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Thank you. Thank you, Monica. I truly do not believe that Jesus died for my sins or anybody's sins. A lot of traditional religions stop at the crucifixion. Jesus' life did not stop at the crucifixion. And when I was growing up and going to Catholicism school, that there was one thing I always wanted to ask, but I was afraid to ask because I was afraid I'd get, in the corner, smacked around or something. But Jesus said, these things that I do, you shall do and even greater. And I have hung on to that in my mind, my heart, and my soul. And I always wanted to ask, well, how do we do that? Because if Jesus came to show us that we can live life abundantly, then why aren't we? We have the opportunity, we have the choices to live life more abundantly, as long as we don't get caught up in other things, other circumstances, other people's energy, and get hooked in. So, before we get into the book today, I just want to give you a little background on the symbolism of Easter. Have any of you felt betrayed? Yeah, we have, haven't we? It's not a good feeling, is it? Have you been betrayed by one of your best friends, maybe a family member, maybe work? So, all those betrayers are really our teachers. If we say that we believe that everything is happening for a reason and a purpose in our lives, then they're showing up as our teacher to teach us something about ourselves. So, did you take the time to reflect on why you felt betrayed? What was the lesson that you needed to learn? What was the wisdom in the circumstances? Or did we just go on and just moan and complain and just carry the story with us? We can tell the story, but we don't want the energy around the story of the betrayal. We want to be able to say, hey, I've been there, and this is how I handle it, and this is what I've learned from it. And in this book, in the first chapter, even Jesus says, and I was so taken back when I read it, I go, wow, why didn't I think of this? You know? And it was that, where is it? Where he talks about, by the way, he planned his own crucifixion. He planned it. Because he wanted to overcome space and time and matter. To prove that we can overcome anything in life, even death. Because the death is only of the physical body. It's not of the spirit. It's of the body. And that we have the power in our minds and in our hearts to regenerate, restore, and renew our physical body, but really not as a physical body, but as an energetic body that is emanating from the physical body. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, since we've all had betrayal, you notice in the Easter story, there's 3 crosses, right? So, we've all been here, haven't we? And we've all put people up on the cross too. By our judgment, by our anger, by our resentments. Just the energy of hatred that's in the world. We put a lot of people up on this cross. And when we stay here on this cross, this would be our now. Remember there was 2 thieves that were crucified next to Jesus? So when we stay on the cross, or we keep people that we have issues with, the thieves of the past steal us from living in the now. And when we keep on the cross, or we keep people on the cross, and we keep talking about it, it also takes away from our future. It's pretty powerful, isn't it? It's a new way of looking at the Easter story. But Jesus went through 7 statements on the cross. And the most powerful one was that he was still teaching and he was still working on himself when he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. They did know better, but not in that moment. They did not. Now, in the New Thought movement, and just with a lot of motivational speaking and everything, they teach us all, change your thoughts, change your life. Right? And that's true. Well, if that was so true, then I should be where Jesus is. And so should you. If it just took just that snap of the fingers for us to change our thoughts and we can change our lives. Not so true. Because a major part is left out that it's called the process. And remember, who you are today took a lot of work in regards to all the changes that you've made and to all of our personality defects of character. Does that make sense? So it's not just changing my thoughts of, oh, I am not going to be judgmental today. Well, I've been judgmental for how many lifetimes? I mean, come on. It's a process. It took me a long time to stop calling my father an idiot. Because really, that's what I felt he was. And then I wanted to keep forgiving him. And forgiving him, and part of me in the forgiveness process was I had to look at something inside myself. And why was I so disappointed with him? And why did I feel betrayed by him? And, you know, why wasn't he being the dad that I thought he should be? It was my expectations. But my dad was doing the best he could. I love my dad. I think my dad's great. If he walked in here, you would all have a great time with him. Got a great personality, 92 years old. I mean, just, you know, full of life. But my dad's a great person. But I had to come to the conclusion inside myself, he just didn't know how to be a dad and show up emotionally for me. And that helped me to be at peace. So now I don't call him an idiot anymore. I mean, I don't call it to his face, but you know what I'm saying? You know. Well, maybe I have, but you know. But that was, you know, in moments of not understanding. But as long as I held my father in that image, I couldn't love myself more and I couldn't love him more. And allow him the freedom to be who he needed to be. It's called love, and love accepts. It is what it is. His era of being raised, you understand? So I had to go through this entire process, and you have gone through the entire process to make peace with yourself, whether it's about a relationship, a marriage, a divorce, a loss of a job, just not understanding, you know, we betray ourselves. And Judas was Jesus' best friend, and he was the one who betrayed him. So I say to you, are you not your own best friend, and have you not betrayed yourself? And how have we betrayed ourselves? How many times have we said to ourselves, I'm not good enough in some way, shape, or form? Trust the process. Keep working at it. You know, keep letting the energy go because you want to just tell yourself, I don't want to be in the bondage of this. And Jesus didn't either. He didn't either. So now, I love this, tearing the papers off. So he comes down off of the cross. And his mother, divine love, the intuitive nature, beholds him, nurtures him, his body, prays over him before Jesus is put into the tomb. So, here's the tomb, here's the rock. He's inside the tomb. That's the inner work we have to do. That symbolizes the inner work. How are you working on yourself? How are you saying, well, what's my part in all this? What do I need to learn? Because in this book, Jesus said, if somebody is reflecting back to you something that you don't like, you cannot recognize that energy in them if it was not in you. So there's healing work that needs to be done inside of you and me, if we're recognizing. And it's the same thing with the good. If you see greatness in another person, you can only recognize it because you have that greatness in you. So they say he spent 3 days in the tomb. In numerology, 3 is the number of mental conclusion. We come to mental conclusions. So, is it literally 3 days? Who knows? Who cares? Maybe it's 3 months, maybe it's 3 years, maybe it's 3 lifetimes. Maybe it's 3 minutes. And we get the big spiritual aha from it. So then we come out, whatever's been blocking us now rolls away. And we go, ta-da, I'm in the light. On this one. And Mary, the other Mary, another intuitive, beautiful disciple of Jesus, was the only one who really knew something was going to happen. But she didn't know what. She really believed when Jesus says that the temple, meaning your body, his body, was going to be destroyed, but he'll be able to resurrect it and rebuild it in 3 days. Maybe she didn't get the whole gist of it, and that's okay. But she's the one who went back to the tomb. And Jesus was so illuminated, she didn't even recognize him. She thought he was the gardener. And then when Jesus calls out to her, and she finally gets, oh my God, Master, Master. And she wants to go and embrace him, and he said, please, I have not yet. I am not finished. That means the processing. And sometimes, even when we come out in the light, we still have to a little bit more process to really get it within us. And every day, we have this type of experience in some way, shape, or form, that where we feel crucified, and sometimes we take it home with us, sometimes we take it to bed with us, and then you want to know why your bed is so crowded. Because you got all these people from work in your brain playing with you, and your heart, and it's running around in your head, and you go, oh my God, I can't sleep well because the bed's too crowded. You got to get them out. So this is the symbolism that I think is so incredible in the Easter story. Because it's about living from our divine self, from our Christ nature. Because I'm just going to remind you, this is powerful work. We're all here because we have a purpose to create. And we cannot create if we're spiritually blocked. So what is it that you want to let go of? What is it that you want to stop beating yourself up in life with and other people with? That's what the whole process is. It's not about the other person. Everybody that comes in is either a gift, a blessing, or a curse in the human mind. But they are there by divine appointment. And if we don't stop, we don't reflect, we don't go and knock on the door, ask and seek the truth of the situation, the door will never be open to us. But it's a time for recreation. We're all here to pull forth the Christ in us. Paul wrote, the Christ in you is your hope of glory. The ultimate relationship we can have is with the Christ essence within us. To talk to it, to call it forth into expression. Because Jesus was always known as the man from Nazareth, the carpenter's son. And it was not until the day that he came out of the tomb and he mastered the divine relationship with God, who he referred to as Father. Because it's personal. God is personal. And a lot of people will say, well, you know, the universe this and the universe that, and that's really good. But I'm a personal person. I'm a people person. I want a personal relationship with my God. I don't want to call it the universe. I know it's the universe, but I want to bring it home. I don't want to put it outside of me. So when I say God or I say Spirit, it brings it back to me. And all of us are the only begotten Son of God. And it lives, moves, and has its being through us in our divinity, called the Christ nature. Call it forth, folks. Call it forth every day and see what happens in your life. So that's what I got here that I wanted to share with all of you because I just think it's such a powerful story. It's a powerful story. It gives you hope. It gives me hope. It says, hey, I can recreate again this situation. I can co-create with God a new beginning. I don't have to live in this darkness. I don't have to live on the cross. I don't have to allow whatever's going on in my life to betray me and to steal from me and to be a thief from me in regards to living my life abundantly. So that's all I got to say about the Easter story for now. But anybody got any questions or comments that you'd like to share? And I think that if we do practice that forgiveness daily, it would be good. Because, I mean, that was pretty powerful, even from the cross, in the midst of his crucifixion. He says, Father, forgive them. And I remember this one lady, her name was Thea Pott. And she was born in Holland. And she would tell these great stories about how her family would hide the Jews in the walls. And how her family would put their life out on the line for the Jews. And they would feed them and hide them and take care of them. That's some Christ-like behavior, I would always think. In our society today, because of the economy and that, people say, well, you know, I went out and bought a gun in case things really get bad. Okay, all right, well, because I don't want them to steal from me. I want to be able to protect me. I want to be able to protect my family. Well, my God in heaven, if you believe that God is your only source and supply, you would never have to worry about food, just like the birds never have to worry about food now, do they? Or the animals. And some of these people are people that really claim themselves to be spiritual people. I don't want, you know, I want to put down my beating stick. I want to put down my emotional gun that I can shoot off on a regular basis. You understand what I'm saying? But it takes time, and I guess what I'm learning about myself, and I want to share it with you, is yes, we can change our life by changing our thinking, and that is true. But I also believe that we have to trust the creative process. As Jesus says, we have to honor those energy fields that are moving through us. And not judge ourselves because of it, but to say, oh, there goes another cloud. I get to choose again. I get to choose again. And in here, Jesus, it's not in any of the Gospels, but he does say something that I thought was very interesting. And it's in the big book on page 37. And it's a part of the healing exercise, which I think is really great. And it's about halfway through the page. Oh no. Can you just start reading that page, because it's further down, but I just don't want to take away from the buildup of it. Would you?
The part where it says, then you will feel compassion?
Yes.
Then you will feel compassion, for it will be revealed to you why they are sitting inside. And lo and behold, instead of being reactionary toward them, you just might be compassionate. Your choice of words and your own behavior might turn out to be different than you could have ever imagined. For through you will flow exactly what serves them. When I was being nailed to the cross, there was one who raised the mallet to strike the nail. And as he raised the mallet, his eyes met mine for just a moment. I did exactly what I have described to you. By this time I had mastered this, so it was done very quickly. I asked myself, however I ever wanted to drive a nail through someone else, how have I ever wanted to drive a nail for someone else? And I remembered my murderous thoughts. I forgave myself and brought my attention back to that one, and asked only to see the light in him. Then I asked, what is it that this action is married to me? What is it masking within him? And I saw soul. I love that one soul, and I felt compassion for that one.